Good evening, y'all. I hope everyone's having a great night, or whatever time, wherever you're all watching this. We're gonna make one of my favorite foods of all time. We're gonna make falafel. I am a carnivore by nature, but this I will seek out any day, anytime. The ground chickpeas is just one of my favorite things. It's a phenomenal meal. It can be used as an appetizer. It can be used as a main course, lunch, dinner. It's just great. I've actually made these balls, and they you deep fry them, but they actually freeze really well, completely cooked. So you can make a big batch of them, and then just throw them in the oven and let them warm up, and they taste almost exactly the same as if they just freshly come out of the fryer. They're really simple to make. They take a little prep because you have to use fresh chickpeas. We have these fresh chickpeas that have been soaking overnight. They're nice and firm, but they were soaking overnight. You cannot use canned. Unlike hummus or something like that, where you can replace the canned version. These have to be fresh, and they're not boiled. They're just soaked, okay? Because we're going to actually cook them in the oil. Other than that, it's some mint, cilantro, parsley, chopped onions, garlic. I've got coriander, cumin, pepper, and salt. That's all that's really in these. This actually comes from a cookbook from Bobby Flay. I really like this recipe because this was the recipe in which he won, but actually said the competitors were better. So we're actually going to make the competitors, because I've tried both the recipes, and they come from his Throwdown cookbook. And I would agree with his thought process. Now, we're going to use a meat grinder for this that's attached to the KitchenAid. You do not have to use a meat grinder. A food processor is just fine, but you're going to need to have one or the other. In the recipe, it actually calls for a meat grinder. I like the coarseness that this gives. You get a little bit more of the chickpea in it, but it's not a complicated thing. So we're going to go over to the meat grinder with our ingredients. And what we do is we take these chickpeas that have been soaking overnight, and we're going to add the onion and garlic that we've chopped nice and coarse. They don't have to be fine, because like I said, we're going to run it through a meat grinder. Okay. We're going to turn this on, and we're going to put it in the hopper. So this is what it will come out. See that it's that nice coarse, that not so coarse, but it's a nice texture to it. So in this, then we're going to add our pepper, salt, cumin, and coriander. Give that just a little mix. And then I'm going to add my herbs. So now that we've got kind of things mixed up, we're actually going to pass this through on a second grind. Allow these herbs to kind of get muddled up in here. So now we have this nice wet batter, and we will form it into balls and put it in our fryer. Now you can put this in the stove. I have a little deep fryer for this that I'm going to do, because it's just easier for me. You can control the temperature, but that's what you're going to get. Just a nice, simple batter. So with this batter, if you want a little spicier, you can add some cayenne. You can actually dice up some chili peppers in it. Just depends on what you want. If you want a little spicy. This is just kind of a bare bones basic one. So what we're going to do is just kind of form these into balls. You notice I have a rubber glove because it just makes it so much easier for cleanup. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put them. I have a hot fryer right there, and we've got it at a good consistent temperature. And we're going to fry these things up. We want them to be a nice golden brown. Don't overcrowd the pan. Like I said, we're making a bunch. You don't have to eat all of these. Like, they freeze really well. Let them get a nice crust, but we'll get a nice golden brown on them, and we want them to cook all the way through. Okay. And you just want to kind of keep turning them. I'm putting a nice shallow fry on these things. Now if you see, They're golden. I want them to go a little darker than that. Almost there. You can use canola oil, you can use sunflower oil, any kind of vegetable oil, it doesn't really matter. Just don't use olive oil. Peanut oil if you, would be nice. Rice bran oil is a great one. A little harder to find. So we'll take out this one as the sacrificial, and I'll show you. This is what we're going to look for. Is it cooked? Oh, look at how and it's steaming through. See how it's still a little. See how you have this. It's the color change, and it's still a little raw in the center. So this one's not quite done. It's hot, but it's just not quite done. So we'll leave those in there for just a few more, maybe another minute or so, because that heat will actually carry it over. Now, I'm not one to waste. Tastes really good. Put it back in. I'll call those done. Like I said, right when they come out of the fryer, just hit them with a little salt. These little wonders, these little falafel balls are one of my favorite things. Now, this is how I get you to watch this channel. There's a hummus video, there's a zug video. What you do is we're going to take this falafel. We'll put some hummus in here, and then you have to have a little bit of the zug because that spiciness is so good. You smash it just like, oh, look at that goodness. All right. If you've never experienced falafel, they are herbal, nutty, crispy, spicy if you put the spice to it. They have this great texture and mouthfeel, and then you add these little accompaniments to it. You could put that the labneh that we made earlier in here too on another video, but this, I mean, cucumber, this is just perfection in my mind. If you have never tried falafel, please, it's not hard to make. Please go ahead and try and make it yourself. No.